Good evening. Welcome to Mi Gente on Air, the show that we bring to you each week concerning Latino contributions, concerns, and culture. And culture is very important these days. And I'm hoping that you come into the room and contribute to this show with a question or a comment that you may have as we talk about the Hispana Misa that's happening October the 25th here in Saginaw at St. Joseph Catholic Church. And my guest today is going to be Deacon Lebrado Gaiton, and he's very knowledgeable about the Misa, of course. And I want you to come in to the room, like I said, support this endeavor by the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw so that we can get a great crowd and a great response to this Misa. So please join me here in the room on the live stream for Mi Gente on Air.
GW and online WSGW.com. Welcome to Mi Gente on Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening. Welcome to Mi Gente on Air. You're hearing the great sounds of Juanes and Fotografia. How many of you remember that song? I thought I'd play a different song this evening just because we want to make change here as we are entering into almost our 5th year of Mi Gente on Air. Can you believe that? 5 years of promoting Latino culture concerns and contributions. And it's really important more than ever that we do share our culture and our contributions as a community. And locally, within the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw, there's going to be a Hispanic Mass, Hispana Misa, that is going to be happening on October the 25th at St. Joseph Catholic Church. And I believe it's the first time that they're going to have this at St. Joseph, where in the past it's been at St. Mary's Cathedral. And my guest today here is Deacon Lebrado Gaiton, who's very knowledgeable, who is the cultural minister with the cultural ministry, Hispanic cultural ministry. He is the chair of it. And I'm going to let him explain what he does is in his role at the Hispanic cultural ministry.
It's my pleasure being here. So I work with Bishop Robert Bruce. I work in the office there. We're called the Director of Multicultural Ministry. So we work with Hispanic, Latino ministry, Black Catholics, and also Native American. So multicultural ministry. But tonight we want to talk about the Misa Hispana. So the bishop wanted to do something for Hispanics, and so we picked October 25th. And then in conjunction with that, we started talking about the World Day of Migrants and Refugees. So we decided to combine the Misa Hispana with the Universal Church's celebration of the World Day of Migrants and Refugees. So that's usually done a little bit earlier in the month. And in fact, Pope Leo recently celebrated it this past weekend, and he issued a really important statement that kind of guides us in this. This is Pope Leo's quote, the message for the 111th World Day of Migrants and Refugees. He says, migrants and refugees remind the Church of her pilgrim dimension, perpetually journeying toward her final homeland, sustained by a hope that is a theological virtue. So I recently was on pilgrimage to Italy, but in life we are pilgrims. We're on a journey to our final destination.
Yes.
So the Misa Hispana is going to celebrate both Hispanic culture and celebrate the migrants and refugees who come to this country. So that'll be October 25th. Before the Mass, we're going to have a March of Solidarity. It's a solemn march.
Yes.
So we're going to start near a parking lot near the Dow Event Center at 3 o'clock. It's about a 1 mile march, so about 30 minutes. but we want to be a visible sign of the church. The church supports the poor and the vulnerable. It always has. There's been a lot of confusion in the media, but the church, since the beginning, Jesus Christ has always supported the poor, the widows, the prisoners, and we stand with them. And so we want to be a visible sign to Saginaw, to the diocese, to the state of Michigan, that we're here on their behalf. We want to be with them and support them in all we can do.
And I think that the work that you're doing, as well as the Catholic diocese, of course, within the ministry, is so important today as we see how immigrants are being demonized by the current administration and all. And so I think it's really a beautiful thing that we as Hispanics, Latinos, Latinx, whatever we want to call ourselves here in this community, that we get behind this effort and we really support it, because more than ever, as you know, I have seen the masses through the misas through the years, the annual one mass for the Latinos in our community. I feel like this one is really a call to our community to come together and support it. Now, we're, you know, of course, we're talking Catholics, but is everybody invited to support
Right.
this effort?
Yes, this is being put on by the Catholic diocese, by the bishop. The bishop will be there with us.
Yes.
So this is people of faith, but we're inviting everybody, all denominations, Catholics, non-Catholics, believers, non-believers, different faith dimensions. So really want everybody to come together, because we're all people of God.
Yes.
We're all children of God, and we all need to treat each other with dignity. You know, we all have our differences. We have different viewpoints, but we can still respect the human person behind those viewpoints. We can agree to disagree, but you know, we have to treat the person as a human person. And you know, as people of faith, we got to stand together in solidarity. We got to do that, and with all in our community, because they are experiencing fear.
Yes.
You know, we would like migrants, refugees to be at the front of the march, but you know, they may not want to show up because we don't know what would happen. So this is not a political rally. This is not a protest. This is a solemn march in prayer to show our strength in unity as a symbol to the world that the Catholic Church is supporting the poor, the migrants, the refugees,
The
the
homeless.
vulnerable people.
Yes, vulnerable.
Yeah.
And Librado, Deacon Librado, excuse me, it's really something. You have just returned from Rome. You just saw the Pope himself.
Yes.
I just returned as well within the month. Got to see him firsthand, and which is just amazing when you're there with the crowd and you see the representative on this earth of Jesus Christ in our faith.
Yes.
And it's really something because, you know, he's the first American Pope and he's from basically our area.
Yes.
You probably had more connection to him than most of the people in the St. Peter's Square, right? That's how I felt. And he has recently come out and said some things. And, you know, today I posted something on Facebook where I said, just really be careful about what you're believing on Facebook and social media, because there's a lot of recent posts where they're using celebrities to use propaganda to help you believe in whatever their narrative is, not the celebrity but the person who's posting. And so there's a lot of untruths, if you will, on Facebook and all. And so like I gave an example of where Frida Kahlo says not to watch Bad Bunny on the Super Bowl, right? It was mocking, and it was a way to say, check your sources, you know? And so I throw this back, you know, in terms of the Pope, because you will see sometimes quotes from Pope Leo, and I always check it because I want to make sure he actually says what is being posted.
Right.
And he did give a very beautiful post in regards to pro-life.
Yes, he did.
And I want you to talk about that. And I don't know if you have the actual quote.
I do.
This
I have
was
it.
true.
I brought it with me because I was really touched by the person who he is and the leader that he is for not just Catholic, but for the world.
Yes.
He's very humble, and he really has the message that we need to hear. And in his celebration of the Jubilee for migrants, he says this is an opportunity to remind all Catholics the duty to welcome and assist migrants as part of each person's obligation and to share God's love. So, how do we show love to people?
Yeah.
You don't do it by, taking food away from them. And to get to what you were saying, he was interviewed a few days earlier, and he was criticizing some Catholic supporters who are supporting the immigration activity, the raids and the arrest and having children put in binds and handcuffs and stuff. And says, someone who says that I am against abortion, but I am in agreement with the inhumane treatment of immigrants who are in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life.
Yeah.
He could have said something. It's not pro-life.
Yeah.
If you're against humanity, you're not pro-life. He said, human dignity must always come first. Human dignity must always come first. And then he continues saying, our mission is not so much about departing, but instead of remaining to proclaim Christ through hospitality and welcome, compassion, and solidarity. So if you're supporting arrest, family division, children being in cages, that is not Christian, not at all.
And I think we all know that. I think we all know that. But because of the political climate in our country today, that gets lost. And especially, and I'm sorry, but this is just my personal opinion, some of our evangelical Christians sometimes seem to forget that. And what I'm saying in regard to that is, we know what happened in 2024 with the vote,
right.
And it was that one issue that many of them, support. And as Catholics, we're not for abortion either.
No.
There's no way.
We have an archbishop in Detroit, and he recently also had a special mass for migrants and refugees in Detroit this past weekend. And he calls Catholics to be witnesses of hope for immigrants. So this is our Archbishop Weisenberger. He's a new archbishop in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So he is fluent in Spanish. He was formerly in the Arizona area on the border. He comes with a lot of experience with migrants and helping people. He said at one time they were helping 1,400 migrants a day.
Wow.
Yeah, so he comes now to Detroit and is now leading our area. And so he had a mass, and during the Jubilee mass there, he lauded the courage and faith of those forced to flee from their homes and was giving them a blessing. So just really, and they're leading a binational team to go to the border in Arizona. So they'll have a group of people going from the United States across the border to a church in Mexico, trying to create that compassion, that dignity. You encounter people, so you get to know people. You get to find out that they're a real person. What are their fears? What are their desires? What are their hopes and dreams? You do that by talking to each other and listening.
And immigrants and the immigration issue is not just here in the United States. It's also internationally, worldwide. There's a lot of immigrants in Europe as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's the calling of Catholics today to come forth and be that beacon of light for the world. And that's what I think Pope Leo is saying. And, I think we lucked out with this Pope. He's doing some great work already within just a few months.
Right.
I remember Pope John Paul II and how beloved he was,
Right.
and the work that he did. Pope Francis, pretty much the same as well.
Right.
And I think Pope Leo is going to be right in that same vein.
Yeah, Leo was following in some of his footsteps, certainly with regard to concern for the poor and being humble and listening and wanting to encounter people. He's that person to person type of individual. Very deep health heart. One of the things he did is he handed down the Cabrini Pledge, and we're going to use this during the Misa Hispana. And I just like to go. There's a couple of bullet points here.
Sure.
So we're asking people to make a pledge. This is called the Cabrini Pledge, and it's on the United States Catholic Conference of Bishops website. It says, "I pledge to affirm in word and deed the inherent dignity of every person." Can we do that? Regardless of their immigration status or country of origin, seeing each as a child of God. So can we engage with Scripture and the Church's social teachings? The Church's social teachings are right on point.
Mm-hmm.
They reflect on the role of migration in salvation history, the history of the United States, and the history of my own family, because I was a migrant farm worker back in 1968. We came up looking for a better life. We had hope, and Pope Leo calls migrants and refugees missionaries of hope. They have hope for a better future. They dream a better future, and they're coming to us and they're bringing hope to us.
Yes.
So, and then we were pledged to listen and learn about the circumstances facing migrants and refugees, especially those in our community, with an open heart and a mind. And he pledged to seek opportunities for an encounter. If you encounter yourself, you encounter the person in front of you, then you can encounter Christ. And then you need to pledge to consider what it means to be a good neighbor. What does a good neighbor look like? How am I called to reflect on the love and hope of Christ? And then can you pledge to encourage civic dialogue that places the human person and the sanctity of families at the center of decision making? And then lastly, to join with Pope Leo in praying for all migrants and refugees as fellow travelers on the journey to our true homeland, heaven. This is the Cabrini Pledge.
Basic Christian faith.
Yes.
And does that have to do with Mother Cabrini?
Yes, it does. She became a U.S. citizen.
The first U.S. saint.
Yes, the first U.S. saint. Yes.
I remember I went to Colorado to see her church and over there, and I was just blown away by what she stood for as an American.
Yeah.
And so, as you have in the last 10 years, I'm not sure your trajectory of when you became a deacon. But you mentioned about your background in your migrant. I believe your wife, the late Christina Gaiton, was also, her family came from migrant upbringing. I think we all did.
Yes, many of us did.
Yes, and what I think about is, we had featured and awarded you the Adelante Award with the Unión Cívica Mexicana.
Thank you very much.
And so many of those stories were rooted in the migrant fields.
Yes.
My father's as well, and so how does this play out for you as a deacon of this diocese today, where you have to see what's going on in the world and you're getting, this beautiful Christian message from the leader of our church?
Right.
How is that for you today?
Well, I take it personally because I remember we were living in the migrant camps in Berrien Springs, Michigan, picking strawberries. And some people came from the Archdiocese of Detroit to the camp, and they were helping us. What do you need? They would have a mass for us, and they would have dances on Saturday night, and we ended up becoming lifelong friends. I'm still friends with some of those people. Wow. And they also make connections for me and were able to help me get into college at Michigan State University. And eventually I went to law school too and became a lawyer. And then I became a deacon, all because the church reached out to me in a migrant camp.
Wow. So
now I have to return the favor. We have to reach out to the migrants and refugees and help them out, because we don't know what the future holds for them.
Yeah.
But we want to be a better future.
Yeah.
We want to be a better future.
And it's very concerning right now because one of the shows I did with John Ayala recently was in regards to the Supreme Court, making that reversal on, basically the ruling that said that if they're basically allow racial profiling now towards Latinos, basically that's what it is,
Right,
basically. And whether you're if you look Latino, if you're speaking Spanish in this country, or if you're at a job that particularly is considered a job that Latinos do, like roofing or in the fields, you know, they can stop you, question you, and
What's worse than that, because
with no due process.
the racial profiling led not only to Latinos, but to the blacks in Chicago.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, breaking into homes and tying up children. Some of them, without that many clothes on. It's just really a bad decision. Certainly not a moral decision, and not in line with Catholic social teaching.
Yeah.
I want to think back to when I was on pilgrimage in Italy. We were in Rome, and we need to get from point A to point B, and all of a sudden, all the traffic was gridlocked. Nobody could move for hours, and we're waiting for our tour bus to come up, but it wouldn't show up because it couldn't get there.
Yeah.
And the reason why there was a mass strike, there was a protest for all the things that were happening in Gaza and Palestine.
Yes.
The flotilla had been blocked. It was just horrible, denying food to starving children.
Yeah.
How Christ-like is that?
Yeah. Yeah. How Christ-like is that? Yes.
But the response there was the whole city shut down.
Yeah.
Where's the reaction in the United States?
Yeah. And I have a personal friend. Well, actually, he was an exchange student of mine that was here in 2018. And he's and I converse almost daily because of what's going on there. Because as I left Italy, all of a sudden these protests broke out in all the major cities across the country in Italy. And that is in support. They're just tired of it. And they are in support of, Gaza, because they see the genocide that is happening.
Right.
And so to stop food and aid that is going to Gaza, that's just so unchristian like, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So regardless of which side of the fence you're on,
right,
women, children, innocent people should not be killed.
Right. Well, we're going to go into commercial real quick. We're going to talk more with Deacon Lebrado Gaiton, and we're going to talk more about the Hispana Misa, as well as the Migrant March that's going to be happening as well. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be back here on Mi Gente on Air. So thank you, everybody who is coming into the room on the live stream here. I think it's a very important show that we have here today. We're not looking to, come down on anybody in regards to this, but, there's the responsibility sometimes when you have a voice, when you have a platform. And I, as a Catholic, I think it's my responsibility to bring this to the table. And that's why I invited Deacon Lebrado Gaiton, who has a lot of history in this in regards to his background and being involved with the Mass that's coming up on the 25th. So continue to come into the room, those of you that are in here. I will try to read some of your comments, and let's talk more with Deacon Lebrado Gaiton and make sure that everybody is aware of this Mass that's happening on October the 25th. And in Lebrado, what time is that Mass happening actually? And it's on a Saturday?
It's a Saturday, October 25th at 4:00 at St. Joseph Parish of Saginaw. So yeah, you're right. Usually it's at the cathedral, but this year we're having it at St. Joe's. I think it's a good time to do that. And it's in all this, without everything happening, this is a good time to come together and celebrate. We're a community. We can come together. We can pray together, and then we're going to have a reception afterwards. So there'll be food, and we invited some mariachis to come and entertain us. Yes.
All right.
So we have prayer we have misa, and then from the misa we go to the mesa.
All right, we're going to talk about that. We're going to go back into the show now, and let's bring that point because I think that's real important. Food.
This is Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Mi Gente on Air. I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and I am proud to be here tonight talking about an important topic as we talk about and we support our immigrants and migrants in this country. And we follow the lead of Pope Leo. And my guest today is Deacon Librado Gaiton with the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw and the Hispanic Ministry. And we're going to talk more about what's happening on October the 25th. And Deacon Librado, excuse me, if you could tell us the time exactly, because it's a mass at 4 p.m., correct?
Right. So Saturday, October 25th, we'll start the mass at 4 o'clock. The bishop is the presider. He's the main celebrant. We're hoping other priests will join us as well. And then, so we get to pray together. We'll journey together. It's a time to celebrate, bring the community together. We're inviting all kinds of people to come, Catholic and non-Catholic. It's a Catholic mass. It's put on by the Diocese of Saginaw. Our Bishop Robert Gruss, he fully supports this. But after the mass, we're going to have a reception. We'll have some food. So we go from the misa to the mesa. And I think it's really good. You join the two things. So we celebrate in prayer, and then we celebrate in community. And as part of the reception afterwards, we're invited some mariachis to come. The mariachis from Flint, Ballet Folklorico Estudiantil.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Yes, they're good. So Susana Quintanilla and her groups.
Yes.
So they'll be there to help entertain us. So it's a time to come together to celebrate in prayer, celebrate in community, and in the time of troubles, try and have a little joy and laughter.
Yeah. Well, I want my producer, Matthew Lester, here to put up some of the pictures from some of the past misas that were happening at the cathedral. And this is maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was able to capture some of these beautiful pictures myself. And these kids probably are, teens now,
yes,
or at least young adults. And, it's really a nice way to display our culture. Look what he's wearing there, the rebozo, and it's the sarape. It's really nice to see that. And I have a few of the pictures from some of the young girls. Beautiful Mexican dress there with their trenzas. That's a beautiful picture. And they're all matching there with their beautiful dresses.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. Isn't that nice? And you'll be able to see that at this mass as well, I think, because you're going to have children dressed like this. And
well, we're going to also have quinceañeras who had celebrated their quinceañeras in the past year or so.
Wow.
They'll be there too. So they'll be bringing lots of color. That's one of the things that when you encounter people, you encounter their culture, their traditions, their faith, and who they are, and look at all this colorful, beautiful people you see,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And there you are.
Yes.
So how many years do you think this was? At least 5 years, right?
At least 5 years. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was a beautiful mass. I was very touched, and I definitely want to be there on the 25th for this to capture some really good footage because
I hope you're there to take. To document what happens and to see what a beautiful event this can be, and how good it's a good thing for the community, for all of us.
Yeah, it's a moral support for our culture today in this time of polarization in our country. I mean, I think
you see all the negative stuff. We want to be a visible sign of the positive.
A beacon
of love
light.
of Christ.
Yes. So tell me a little bit more about the actual march that's going to be happening in conjunction with this misa.
Okay. Yeah. So before the mass, we're going to be starting a march in the parking lot of the Great Lakes Bake Health there on the corner of Lapeer and Genesee. So the parking lot there. And then we have the bishop will start us in prayer, hopefully. and he's planning to be there. And then we'll just go straight down to the front of the Dow Event Center. I don't know if it's going to be 50 people or 500 people. I don't know, but we'll have the sheriff's department will be there to make sure people stay on track. We'll go in front of the Dow Event Center to Washington, and then we turn right, and then we'll go down Washington all the way across the railroad tracks to First Street, and then we turn right on First Street, and that becomes Kirk, and it goes straight to St. Joe's.
Oh, okay.
So we chose going down Washington because that's a main hub of the city. So there's going to be cars going. We're staying all on the sidewalk. We're not blocking traffic or anything. We're going to be on the sidewalk, but we'll be walking in a solemn march, prayerfully. Maybe we'll be talking to somebody we never met before. And say, why are you here? Where did you come from? Where did your family come from?
Yeah.
What's your cultural background? You get to know people, and then you listen to what they say. So you'll have a chance to have that conversation as we walk. So it's not a political protest. It's a prayerful encounter with each other.
Now, are you inviting some of the civic organizations and other churches as well?
We contacted all the other churches. I call them the non-denominational churches. We invited some of the black pastors to come along. Invited various people because we want everybody's invited. Everybody's invited.
So I can come with the Union Civica banner and march with.
Yes.
I'll try to get some of my members.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Yeah.
We are a nation of immigrants.
Yes. And sometimes we forget that, but they try to handpick it and nitpick it, I should say, and say that the settlers are the ones that were the first people here in America, when we know that's not true, and it was the natives. And Mexican were native Indians as well. And
I've checked my DNA. I'm 50% Native American.
Really?
Yeah, probably Apache or Northern Mexican Indian. So
what's the other 50%? What's the other 50%? Because you're very light complected.
30% Spaniard.
There you go.
A little Portuguese. I think like 0.5% from Africa. So
wow.
Yeah.
A mixture. Yeah.
But our ancestors from America have been here for thousands and thousands of years.
Yes. And that's the native cultures. And it's so important because I think I had mentioned to Deacon Librado that I was in Sicily recently, in the island there, and it had been conquered by so many different countries and tribes, and from the Arabs to other Italian, Romans, and etc. And there's such a it's so mixed. Northern Italy is not the same as Sicily. And in Sicily, you can see the mixtures within the architect and with the food and just the people themselves. And it's beautiful to see and witness that. It really was. And I think that's what, somehow we as American citizens need to remember, that, we're a mixture here too. We're there was the old doctrine that we were taught in school about the melting pot and all that, remember? But we have to remember that there's so many that came here as immigrants from Europe, way back. Even the initial settlers that came, they weren't Americans. They were from Europe.
So it's not,
as immigrants.
It's not a melting pot. It's a salad bowl.
Yeah.
The tomatoes stayed a tomato. Cucumber stayed a cucumber.
Yeah.
It's a salad.
And so, to my listeners out there, those that are Hispanic, Latinos, this is a time for us to, really proclaim our identity, I think, in this time of division that we have in our country, where we are being earmarked because of the immigration issue. And we have seen the devastation in some of the posts and the videos that you see where people are being apprehended, and the Diocese of Saginaw is coming forth and saying, this isn't a protest, this mass, and neither is the march. It's a time to shine, to be a beacon of light, of hope for the immigrant people and to Christians around the world. So I think that we need to come together, everybody. This is a time for unity, and, Deacon Librado, is there anything else you want to say in regards to the misa or the march?
Right. Catholic means universal, one body, and we're all called to come together. And it's not easy to do. You have to work at it, but it's what we're called to do. We're called to come together as one. So I invite everybody to come to the Misa Hispana. If you're able to come to the march, even better. Come to the celebration. Come to the reception. We'll be providing the main dish. If you want to bring a side dish or dessert, that's fine. You don't have to, but just come,
Mm-hmm.
come be part of us.
What was it? Why was it changed from the cathedral to St. Joe's?
My request.
Really?
Yeah. So we want to do different things, and people tend to be part of their parish, and the bishop wants to have one celebration for the whole diocese.
Mm-hmm.
And so it seems easier this year to have the bishop come to St. Joe's and then have other people come to St. Joe's. And it just worked out. It was just, grace happening. Well, the bishop and I sat down and he said, can we do a Misa Hispana this year? Where can we do it? The cathedral wasn't available on the date that the bishop was available. Well, I said, what about St. Joe's? Well, let's check. And the St. Joe's is available. So the bishop said, yeah, let's do it.
Wonderful.
It just came together. It's God's grace.
Yeah. And I think, that's exciting to hear that you're going to have the Flint group. And if you could mention that again, because their name is long for me and I can't always get it right.
Ballet Folklorico Estudiantil Mariachis.
Yes, under the direction of Suzanne Quintanilla. And they are a wonderful group. If any of you had got the chance to see them at Saginaw Valley State University, I think about a year ago, they just blew me away with the talent of these young kids. And they're going to be playing at this Misa. So if we can also support them, they sometimes come to our Cinco de Mayo parade, and they're in the parade as well. Some of the girls, the dancers and all. And it sounds to me like it's going to be a very colorful event with some of the past quinceañera girls who have celebrated their quinceañera, and
Right.
they'll be in their dresses, as well as as you've seen from some of the pictures that I've had in here from past misas, just some of the kids that are in our diocese who will see this. And how do you feel this affects those young kids that are involved? I remember your late wife was so involved with the youth ministry at St. Joe's, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So the youth are really the church of today. They're the church of today. And so we reached out to the youth groups. St. Joe's youth coordinator is helping with that. And so we invited other youth groups from other parishes to get together on Friday night, because we want to have them prepare signs, and also we're having them doing something with balloons, so lots of balloon decorations. I don't remember, there's one Cinco de Mayo where we had the kids wearing balloons.
I remember.
So we're going to do that again.
Wow.
We hope to do that again. So we'll have lots of colorful youth, and we'll see how that works out. So Christina really was, her focus was the youth. She spent a lot of time and energy with the youth. I still run into kids today nowadays. She was my teacher.
Yeah.
She taught me. She helped me with my catechism. She helped me with my confirmation. So they still come in because they connected with her. And so we have the kids today need to have that same experience of God's love.
Yes.
And so we're hoping that the youth will be a big part of the march, and also with the Mass. We're hoping that the faith formation kids will also see us sing a song during the Mass. We'll see how that works out or not.
Okay. You have the poster for the Misa and the March. If you could just turn it around and show the camera, because I forgot to send it to my producer. So if you see this on the Facebook, I've promoted it on my site. Share this, because this is where it gives you the information about the solemn march for migrants and refugees, and it shows the mariachi singers and players that are going to be coming from Flint, and the Misa Hispana with Bishop
Robert Gruss.
Robert Gruss, I almost said the previous bishop because that's what's in my mind, but Bishop Robert Gruss is an incredible bishop as well, and we really need to thank him and the diocese for allowing this to take place. Because I don't think this happens in every diocese.
No, it doesn't.
And thank God we have someone like you who is promoting this and really want this to happen for our community at a time where it's so badly needed. So everybody, if you could promote the poster that Deacon Gaiton is putting there, promote it on your post rather than so much of the negativity that we see. This is something so positive on social media. So let's get behind this. Let's support it. And I'm just really thankful that this is going to be happening October 25th, 2025, 4 p.m. Mass. And the actual march is going to be at 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Yeah.
Yes, 3 p.m. It's a Missionaries of Hope. And I think that we all should get behind this at this time. And the weather's changing now. It's a little bit colder, so make sure you dress appropriately and let's get behind it and support this effort. And, make sure that the colorful culture that we have is displayed and promoted heavily throughout our diocese and throughout the state of Michigan because, hey, Saginaw's got it going on within the Catholic Church here in regards to this Hispana Misa.
Yeah.
I keep kind of putting my English and Spanish there.
Yeah.
So, we have a number of comments in here, and I can't really read them because I don't have my glasses today. I'm so sorry, everybody. But, thank you for being in the room here and supporting this show. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we're going on our 5th year within 30 days. And it's a great opportunity to be at the table, to be able to have this show and have a voice in our community that can support this like no others. I mean, we're really going to try to get the word out for you to make sure that this is heavily attended, as well as get some of the organizations like the Union Civica behind it. And just make sure that we're heard. Right. Not just by our voices, but visually, as you are saying.
A visible sign of unity. Yeah.
Yes.
So really want to thank you for inviting me to come here tonight. This is the first time for me doing a live stream. So, but it's an important time, an important message. So thank you.
Well, Mariana Cos, I ran into her at her mother's restaurant, and she said some things, and they're promoting it there as well. And so I thought, what an opportunity we have, because this show, as you can see, it's Tuesday night and it's on the live stream on social media, but the show will actually broadcast as well on Saturday and on Sunday of this weekend. So leading up to 1 week before the actual celebration in Mass. So that's a good timing. Anything else for the good of the order that you want to bring up or talk about? Tell us a little bit more about your trip to Italy and Rome.
I had a wonderful trip to Italy. We ended up being part of an ordination of one of our seminarians, Charles Warner, and that celebration was in St. Peter's Basilica. So to be in St. Peter's Basilica is one thing. To be there for a Mass takes it to a different level. To be there at a Mass at an ordination of a deacon takes it even higher. And because it was an ordination of a deacon, all the deacons present got to be part of the ceremony as well. So we got to be on the altar with the new deacons and give them the fraternal sign of peace. It was just amazing to be in St. Peter's Basilica under the chair of Peter, behind the huge main altar. And it's just...
what an experience for you.
Yes,
huh?
I know.
Wow. And then you got to see the Pope too, as well.
We saw
afterwards.
The Pope the day before. We were within 15 feet of him. And across from us was a young mother with a baby. And he stopped there and grabbed the baby and gave the baby a blessings. And we ended up seeing that same family the next day.
Oh, yeah.
And we're able to talk to them. It was just really a blessing.
And there's nothing like that. I mean,
no.
You see videos, you see the Pope, especially with, social media today and all, but there's nothing like being right in front of him and experiencing that love that's there as Catholics.
Right.
It's just incredible to that feeling, because as Catholics, we do believe he is the vicar of Christ.
Yes.
And so it's really an amazing feeling to see that. And that was probably one of the highlights of my trip to Italy as well.
He speaks from the heart.
Mhm.
He's very honest. He's genuine. He's caring. And he speaks all kinds of languages.
Yeah, that's something.
English, Spanish, Italian.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And when you hear him speak Italian, you wouldn't even think that he's American because
Right.
his Italian is so good.
Right.
His Spanish is good.
Yes.
And he's from the Midwest. He's one of us.
Right.
So that's pretty incredible. But well, thank you so much for being with us here today. I want to make sure everybody knows again, October the 25th is the Misa Hispana, and the march is at 3 p.m. And I want to tell everybody to really save the date and try to attend this, which is at 3 p.m. And then the mass is at 4 p.m. at St. Joseph Catholic Church. And so you're going to kind of be going over those tracks by the Potter Street.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then going to 6th Street,
Mhm.
and then turning right into St.
Right.
Joseph Church. So I just want to mention as well, on that particular day, October 25th, the Unión Cívica Mexicana is having their Halloween dance. That evening. So there's more celebration later that evening with Grupo Deseo, who the lead singer is Mark Najar from Toledo, Ohio, who is originally from Saginaw and attended Buena Vista High School. So there's a lot happening. And October 25th, mark the day, because we all have to get behind this mass as well as the march. And if you want to come and dance as well at night at the Unión Cívica, feel free to join us as well. So thank you, everybody, for being with us here tonight. We want to thank Deacon Librado Gaiton and St. Joseph Catholic Church for hosting this event that's happening for our community. And so we'll see you next week here on Mi Gente on Air. All right. So thank you, everybody, for being with us here. If anybody needs some more information in regards to the Mass or the March, Deacon Gaiton, who can they contact?
Contact me directly. You can contact me at the diocese, or you can just call my cell phone, 989-980-0935.
All right. So everyone, thank you for joining us here today. I think it was a great show. I think our hearts were in it. We both have returned from Italy, and what an experience that was for us. And to be able to see the Pope as we did and share the joy that we have for this Pope. I have it. I think I see it in you.
Yes.
And so, let's get behind this effort that we have locally in our diocese here in Saginaw. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week here on Mi Gente on Air.